Since entering the OECD 25 years ago, Korea has gone from strength to strength, and it's been a top-performing economy. Korea has done an exceptionally good job in developing an internationally highly competitive manufacturing industry and also a world-class ICT sector. And it hasn't been all plain sailing along the way. I mean, over the past 25 years, Korea had to overcome numerous challenges. The Asian financial crisis back in 1997, the global financial crisis about 12 years ago, and of course now the COVID pandemic, a one in a 100-year event. Korea has led the OECD on several fronts, from research and development intensity to university graduation rates to the number of high-tech firms operating at the technology frontier. And Korea responded very quickly and very effectively to the pandemic. For example, containing the spread of COVID-19 by using digital tools such as location and symptom tracking. That has enabled Korea to keep the virus at bay relatively well, without a total lockdown, which significantly helped limit the economic harm. Korea also remains one of the top performers in PISA. Almost 1 in 3 of Korea's 15-year-old students reached the highest level in mathematics. That is the greatest share among all OECD countries. And Korea also has one of the highest rates of spending on research and development in the world, and much of it from private firms. Korea is and has been an invaluable member of the OECD over the past 25 years. It brings innovative thinking, knowledge, and diversity. Our partnership with Korea over the past 25 years has really gone from strength to strength. Korea has been a leader and an active contributor across the OECD governance processes. For example, as chair of our annual Ministerial Council meeting in 2009, and again as vice chair in 2021. And Korea has contributed its rich reform experiences in areas such as public sector innovation, competition, and green growth. For example, Korea's 2009 national strategy for green growth was the pump priming for the development of the OECD's own green growth strategy. In 2015, Korea hosted the meeting of the OECD Committee for Scientific and Technological Policy at the ministerial level, the first ever such meeting held outside Paris. And in 2018, the 6th OECD World Forum on Statistics, Knowledge and Policy was also held in Korea. And Korea has played a key role in the adoption of the OECD principles on artificial intelligence in 2019 and further extended the impact of the OECD to developing countries. Just a year after Korea joined the OECD, we established the OECD Korea Policy Center, a hub for sharing best practices and valuable policy experience with partner economies across the Asia-Pacific, in the areas of health and social policy, competition, international taxation, and public governance. Korea has become a driving force behind the global development and inclusive growth agendas. Joining the OECD Development Assistance Committee in 2010, Korea hosted the Busan High-Level Forum on Aid Effectiveness just 1 year after, reflecting its important role in the global development discourse and community. Korea has also been a stalwart supporter of our efforts to build a stronger bridge to Asia, not least as the co-chair of our Southeast Asia regional program together with Thailand. And Korea is continuing to pave the way. In an effort to fight climate change, Korea recently set a new goal to cut its greenhouse gas emissions by up to 40% by the year 2030. And this includes an aspiration to reduce the country's reliance on coal-fired power plants and to expand the use of renewable energy sources. The OECD-Korea relationship is a shining example of what can be achieved on the strong foundation of mutual trust, common goals, shared values, and hard work. We look forward to further enriching our partnership and cooperation in the years ahead. Korea provides a powerful demonstration of how sound policies, a commitment to democracy, human rights, the rule of law, and operating within a rules-based global trading system can lead to economic prosperity, better opportunity, and increased living standards and generally improvements in the quality of life. Korea's economic reconstruction, the miracle on the Han River, has been a source of inspiration for countries all around the world. Korea transformed itself from a low-income developing economy into the world's 10th largest economy and the 7th largest exporter. And Korea is not resting on its laurels either. The hunger for further endeavors leading to continued success and achievements continues. On the back of Korea's agility and its willingness to pursue innovative policy responses swiftly, Korea can help steer future growth initiatives towards strong, resilient, and sustainable development of the economy and society. This approach is very much captured in the upgraded Korea New Deal 2.0 initiatives, which combines a digital New Deal, a Green New Deal, a Human New Deal, and a Local New Deal, focusing on strengthening employment and a social safety net to build forward in a better, stronger way. Since becoming the co-chair of the OECD Southeast Asia Regional Programme in 2018, Korea has made important contributions as a critical bridge to bring Southeast Asian countries closer to our organization, supporting their economic policy initiatives and regional integration efforts. Through its leadership role in the OECD Committee for Scientific and Technology Policy, Korea has helped extend the reach and impact of the OECD work to Southeast Asian partners and non-members. Korea has also been leading efforts to promote strong, sustainable and balanced growth in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond through international fora, such as the UN, the G20, including during its presidency in 2010, APEC, as well as, of course, through our own OECD Southeast Asia Regional Programme. We very much look forward to deepening this collaboration further and to Korea's continued and active role as a critical bridge to Asia. Korea's economic policies during the pandemic have been appropriate and highly effective. They have helped limit the negative impact on the economy of the pandemic. As a result of its swift and effective measures, Korea's growth has been one of the strongest across OECD countries since the pandemic first hit us. Korea's relative economic resilience can be attributed to effective management of the pandemic, a sizable fiscal response, supportive monetary policy, and an internationally highly competitive manufacturing sector underpinning continued strong export performance. Despite being one of the first OECD countries to be impacted by the pandemic, Korea quickly activated a test, track and trace system supported by people's trust, a well-functioning national health insurance system, and effective collaboration among key institutions. Also, Korea's second dose vaccination rate reached 81% as of early December, well above the OECD average of 68%. As a result, disruptions to domestic demand have been more limited than in other places. Korea launched potent fiscal programs, including cash relief, as well as job creation and retention schemes, which sustained domestic demand. The fiscal response is estimated at around 0.7% of GDP in 2020 and 2.6% of GDP in 2021. And on the monetary side, the Bank of Korea reduced its policy rate to a record low 0.5% by May 2020, which helped ease the liquidity constraints of banks, businesses and households. And in addition to these economic policies, Korea's highly competitive manufacturing industry contributed to economic resilience. Korea managed to achieve solid export growth through the pandemic, with high external demand for semiconductors, machinery, and petrochemicals. Korean exports already recovered to pre-crisis levels by late 2020. The latest reading this year saw exports soaring 32% compared to a year earlier, the 9th straight month of double-digit expansion. The global pandemic had a profound social and economic impact on countries all around the world. The Korean economy continues to recover strongly following the COVID-19 shock. It is being propelled forward by strong export growth, which has helped drive improved business investment and public support. After a 4% rebound in 2021, real GDP is projected to grow by 3% next year and 2.7% the year after. The gradual relaxation of distancing measures and supportive fiscal policy will further boost private consumption and employment, notably in the service sector. Relatively low public debt leaves room for continued fiscal support, but prioritizing spending will be important, given the need to address Korea's aging population, as well as climate change, as well as making sure that there is better equality of opportunity in line with Korea's New Deal 2.0 initiatives. For this, fiscal support to households and companies particularly affected by the pandemic should remain in place until the economy has fully recovered. However, it should become more targeted and help facilitate job transitions. Governments should take a holistic view of the risks associated with the national or global crisis and ensure that policies remain fit for purpose. And as the economy continues to recover, public investment should be focused on a way forward, such as even further accelerating the digital transformation, in particular for smaller and medium-sized businesses, on greening the economy and on improving equality of opportunity. The upgraded Korean New Deal 2.0 is seeking to do precisely that, with its aim to increase fiscal investment from 160 trillion won to 220 trillion won and to create over 600,000 extra jobs, in addition to investment in human resources development, including programs to help bridge the social and education gap by 2025. These policies will bear fruit in the coming years, but a 23% increase in exports of ICT goods and services is already expected this year relative to last year. There's much opportunity, there's much to do, and of course the OECD will continue to work with Korea, for Korea, and support Korea every step of the way. Korea has long been known for its dynamic and creative economy and manufacturing prowess. But there is no doubt that the Hallyu has catapulted Korea onto the global stage, projecting Korea's growing soft power across the Asian region and beyond. To this day, Korea is one of the world's leading exporters of popular culture. This has been a clear positive for the Korean economy as well. The economic value of the Korean wave can be assessed by direct impacts on cultural exports and indirect ripple effects across the economy. With the rapid diffusion of Korean wave, cultural exports have increased significantly, more than doubling from $5 billion US in 2016 to $11 billion US in 2020. This is a 50-fold increase from around $0.2 billion US in the late 1990s. The Korean wave, backed by digitalization and globalization, likely boosted the exports of related sectors such as tourism, fashion, and cosmetic industries by enhancing the image and reputation of Korea as a beautiful country. Indeed, the number of tourists visiting Korea doubled during the 2010s, reaching 18 million by 2019. Cosmetic exports owing to the Korean wave increased tenfold in the last 10 years from $0.7 billion US in 2010 to $7.4 billion US in 2020, ranking third worldwide in terms of market share. The Korean Wave also created jobs. For instance, the overall number of employees in the Korean cultural industries increased from 570,000 in 2005 to 640,000 in 2017, now accounting for around 3% of total employment. However, having said all of that, we must also be careful not to overestimate the economic value of the Korean Wave, since cultural exports still account for less than 2% of Korea's total exports, despite the rapid increase. But it is delivering significant on-flow benefits into other parts of the economy as well. A very warm congratulations to Korea.net audiences in Korea and worldwide on the 50th anniversary of the opening of the Korean Culture and Information Service. My very best wishes for a strong and successful future to Korea.net and to all those who watch, listen to and read your material. Best wishes.